I think that whenever we are in a state of sadness, our first instinct is always to flee, to make it go away. And we do that by maybe going, hanging out with people, going out with our friends, partying. Maybe it's watching TV, consuming social media, or scrolling reels, or whatever it is. And I feel like you do that because you feel that this feeling of sadness, this emotion is unnatural. Like it shouldn't be there. It's unusual. And I'm making this video because I have been reflecting on this topic, on this idea. And I feel like there is a need for us to get comfortable with this feeling. And I'm not saying that like we need to feel that sadness is a good thing, that it is something that we need to enjoy. No, you can't enjoy it. But you need to learn to live in that phase when you are feeling that way. Like when you get a physical wound, when you get hurt or when you get cut, your reaction is not to rush it. Your reaction isn't to just panic. You sort of trust that your body would heal it. You feel like even if you're hurt right now, if you give your body the time and the energy, it will heal it. And healing is something that I think we have to do with our sadness as well. Because I think that sadness is sort of an opportunity, and we don't feel it because we don't confront it, because we don't meet it, because we are sort of scared of it, the feeling of being sad. But I think that when we meet it, and I want you to meet it, I want you to confront it when you feel it. Because when you do that, you give yourself an opportunity to meet yourself. Because when you keep postponing yourself, you take that opportunity away from you. I want you to sit with yourself whenever you feel sad and to just give it time instead of making it go away by distractions or by um, going out and enjoying or distracting your mind. I want you to actually try to understand it, because by doing that, you are realizing that this sadness that I'm feeling means that something inside me needs to change, that my perception of the world needs to change. Because I'm feeling this due to me not seeing the world correctly. I think, in a way, our sadness is our reality check that is telling us that the ideas that we have inside, the thoughts and the perceptions that we have inside may not meet the world that we encounter outside. And when those two clash, we get that feeling of sadness because it doesn't make sense to us. And that is why that feeling feels so strange. Because everything that you thought you understood doesn't make any sense anymore. The world doesn't make any sense anymore. And that is why you must sit with that feeling. You must give it time and try to understand it. I think sadness is like a guest, an unexpected guest, but an important one who, when he comes into your house, you invite him in instead of making him go away from the back door. You take him in and you let him stay and you talk to it. And as you talk to it and you talk to it and you give it time and you let it be, and you try to understand why that guest is here. When the guest leaves your house is not going to be the same. Because now the guest has left a mark on you. But now you understand it. And you understand yourself differently. You understand your house differently. And what that means is basically transformation. And I think sadness is that opportunity for us to understand transformation. Because when you realize that your ideas or your perceptions were not accurate, and those were the cause for your sadness, now you can actually transform yourself. You can go through a process of change, you can work on it. And transformation is a invisible process. It's a slow, invisible process that takes a lot of time and work to make it visible. I know that in today's world, we expect ourselves and other people to change instantly or to change fast, and that change has to be visible, and their progress has to be visible all the time. But true change and true transformation actually takes time, and I think it's invisible and much, much, much deeper inside of us. And because it is so deep, it's taking that time. And because we need to find it and understand it and then work on it. I think, like, when you see a flower on the sidewalk or in a garden, and right now you see that flower visibly and you see bloom and you see its colors and its beauty. The flower didn't always look like that, but the flower was always there. It took a lot of time to develop and to transform into becoming like that. Initially, it was just a seed. The stem was not there, the leaves were not there, the flower was not there, the buds weren't blooming. But that seed had to work a lot underground to expand its roots until one day something sprouted from the ground and then it grew and became a flower. But growing those roots were so important for the flower that took so much more time. And if you remove that time, then the flower would not exist. And that is why I think when you're in that state of transformation, or maybe right now you're feeling a state of sadness, you must give yourself that time to transform. You must have faith and you must trust it. Because I feel like in this state or in this time that we are in, we need to be there for ourselves. Instead of, you know, rushing it or being inquisitive and not having patience and having doubts, I think you really need to be soft with yourself at this time. You need to just have faith in yourself and you need to trust yourself. And when you do that, when you are soft with yourself and you trust yourself, you build that trust and you have faith. That is when you allow that transformation to happen. That is when you have that patience to let it happen. And you work on it constantly to understand yourself and to understand what it actually is. can it happen. And I also feel like solitude is so important. And, solitude is actually kind of a scary thing at first. And I know that when I say, solitude might even sound counterproductive because we have trained ourselves to think that whenever we are in a state of, sadness or, this kind of feeling that is so heavy, we need somebody to support us. But I think when you are in the state of sadness, you really need one company, and that is the company of yourself. You need to be in that solitude, you need to experience it, and you need to give it time. Because even though at first it might sound or it might feel scary to be, by yourself, it's like waking up on a mountaintop all alone and you don't know where to go. And it is because you have no direction outside. You learn that the only way to go is inward. And I think solitude does that. When you remove the distractions and when you put everything else away and when you just sit with yourself and try to understand, that is when beautiful, beautiful things happen. Because silence is not empty. Silence is the place where you find the answers. It is where you discover that. It's when the answers show themselves to you. And I think the answers are always there. We just need to see them. We need to remove the distractions away for us to confront them. These things are scary at first, but you have to do it. But when you get distracted, and I know that, our first reaction is always to, get away from the things that we are scared of instead of confronting them or meeting them. But I think that when you meet that sadness and you try to understand it for who it is or what it is, you can master it. You can bring it in your control. And then you can use it when you need it next time instead of it overwhelming you. You are the one in control of it. And when you feel sad and you try to flee and you try to reach out to people and you know go out and relationships and parties and entertainment or social media or whatever those things are, and you're basically just trying to find an escape. You're trying to get away and you're trying to find somebody who can rescue you. And when you are trying to find people who would rescue you, you're not building relationships. Then those people or friends or whatever are not relationships anymore. They're just an escape. An escape from yourself. Because we feel the need that we need to have relationship with other people to feel peace. That you feel that the peace that you need exists in the external world. It exists out there. That when you find it out there, it will all make sense to you. But it doesn't exist out there. True peace exists inside. When you build that relationship with yourself, that you can depend on yourself when these tough times come around, is when you find peace. And so whenever that sadness comes again, you are there for yourself. You are that friend who you need out there. instead of relying on other people. I also feel like solitude, because it is uncomfortable, makes you self examine, makes you look at yourself for who you are. And I think it's really important to be self aware in that sense because discomfort demands self examination. And just sit with yourself and you genuinely try to understand who you are without any bias or without any prejudice. Just be a friend to yourself sometimes, be kind, be understanding. And we miss that so much. I mean, most of the time we are just enemies to ourselves more than we are friends. Always criticizing or scrutinizing or comparing. And because of that, when you go through the process, you sort of forget who you even are and why you need yourself. So don't worry, man. Just live. Give it time, observe, have faith, have trust. Take the journey. Take the journey. And the only journey is to go through it. Let it happen. Don't let it happen to you. Go through it. And only when you go through it and when you take that journey, the other side of it, when you come out, the transformation has happened, my friend. You have become that new person. You have become who your sadness wanted you to be. And that is the only way to become new.